Hi, I'm Don from DonDronesOn. Security cameras are an increasingly popular item for both residential and commercial properties, and Reolink systems are a great option to consider. Let's check out why and look into one major issue that I found. Reolink offers a remarkably flexible portfolio of camera options, allowing you to choose cameras to suit your needs with video connection by wire or wireless and video storage either locally right on the camera's SD card or in a home hub module or in the cloud. Power can be via cable or with a built-in battery with the option to keep the battery charged with a solar panel. The Reolink folks asked me to review their Argus 4 Pro camera, which features a 180-degree field of view, 4K resolution, and color night vision, amongst other things. Now, when they asked me to do a review of their camera, they also provided a home hub module and solar panel. This would allow me to access the footage remotely and have it stored securely via the hub module. And it would allow me to mount the camera without having to worry about cables or frequently needing to manually recharge the battery. Or so I thought. Essentially, they gave me a complete setup comparable to the Blink cameras I already had. Now, to be fair, I shouldn't really be comparing the Reolink system to Blink's. Blink cameras are designed for a quick and cheerful setup with satisfactory but really not great video quality. The Reolink system, on the other hand, is more targeted towards commercial or higher-end residential users, where a more permanent installation would be expected and high-quality video is crucial, particularly at night.
So my particular system came in 3 boxes: the camera itself, the solar panel, and the hub unit for recording the video. Let's open them up and see what's inside. So the camera box comes with, well, of course, the camera itself, and it's got these little stickers that you take off before use. And there's the camera. It's got 2 lenses on it, various detectors and light sources. On the bottom, there is a little rubberized compartment for storing an SD card if you store your video that way. And oops, there's another one of those stickers on here. And then on the back is a compartment or a rubberized seal for your USB-C connection. So if you're just running it on batteries, you would close that up and it would be sealed. If you're powering it from a solar panel like I will be doing, or if you're hardwiring it in, that's where your power would come from. The USB-C cable, which is also provided, provides both power as well as connectivity. All right, so that's the camera itself. There's a mounting bracket for it. It's a swivel mount, and you'd install that with 2 screws, and that connects into the back right there. And you also have the option of a tree mount. So they provide you with a strap and a little bracket that connects up into that. So if you want to mount it on a tree, get some screws and drywall plugs, and there's a template so that you can do it precisely. As I mentioned, there's a USB-C cable here, quick start guide, little catalog, and a sticker so that people know that you have 24-hour video surveillance. All right. So the solar panel kit consists of the solar panel itself. Very durable. It's almost like a plastic on the surface. It's not the usual sort of glass-fronted solar panel that you would see. And like everything in this Reolink set, it is very tough feeling, very durable. So the USB-C cable, and I'll measure that for you when we get into the installation, is connected into the back there. There's a hole for the mounting bracket. The mounting bracket, again, is a swivel sort of arrangement, and you have 3 options. You can screw that directly into a post or a wall or whatever. There's a template to give you a guide for where the screws would need to go. You also have the option of a strap for mounting it to a tree or some other sort of a temporary situation like that, and you use this bracket in conjunction to do that. And you also are provided, now they don't mention this in the instructions, but you're also provided a self-sticking thing. I frankly wouldn't recommend using that, but they give you that option. And of course they give you some mounting screws, instructions, and also in this kit there is an optional adapter that goes from USB-C to a micro USB, and it's got a nice rubberized boot on it. And I should mention that this USB-C cable is not your run-of-the-mill cable. It's nice and flexible. It's designed for the outside, and it's got this weatherproof boot associated with it so that when you plug it into your camera, there's a weatherproof seal. Very nice. So in the hub box, you get the hub itself, which is a fairly chunky piece of equipment. It's about a half a kilogram in weight. There's a power button on the front. There's various venting, top and bottom. Nice rubberized foot on it. And on the back is where all your connectivity happens. There's a power input there, and they provide you with the power supply. It goes into your AC power there, and it's a 12 volt input on that. 2 SD cards for micro SD cards, and your Ethernet connection. This unit is hardwired to your router with an Ethernet cable, which they provide. There's also a QR code up here for helping with your setup, and they also provide a little reset button because there's a reset tool. There's a reset button right there in case you need to reset the thing. All right, so that's that. Oh, and of course it comes with instructions and a little catalog of other equipment.
The Argus 4 Pro camera has 3 killer features. Number 1 is the 180-degree field of view, achieved by ganging together 2 wide-angle cameras into one image. This very wide-angle view means you can cover more area with fewer cameras. Now, I originally mounted the camera on the back of my garage. In this location, I figured I could cover the entrances to both the garage and to my home on one view and cover my waterfront area. I found, however, that the motion detection at the extreme angles was not reliable. So after a month or so, I turned it around and I mounted the camera and solar cell on a conveniently located tree. Both my building entrances could still be covered, and the main path for people arriving as well. Motion detection, even towards the end of my porch, was quite reliable. The second key feature of the Argus 4 Pro camera is the fact that both of the individual camera units are 4K, providing crystal clear, high-resolution images. Now, just compare the Reolink view to the Blink view. There's no contest. Finally, the Argus 4 Pro offers full color night vision. Most security cameras provide night vision by means of infrared illumination, resulting in grainy, black and white images. Now, this may be sufficient in some cases, but the Reolink camera wins big time by having simple white LED lights triggered by motion, coupled with low light camera sensors. The result is very clear, full color video within, well, a reasonable range of the lights in the camera. Of course, you do lose the element of covertly filming intruders, but the deterrence factor of a light going on, coupled with the clear imagery, is probably better than being able to secretly film visitors to your property.
I would recommend that you set up your entire system before you physically install it. So in other words, set up the hub, make sure the cameras are working and things like that. And that way, for example, when you're connecting your camera, you can use the QR code on the back of the camera to connect it as opposed to adding it manually in the app. So the first step is, in fact, to download the app, and there's a QR code in each of the instruction manuals. So all you do is take your camera and install the app. After installing the app and opening it up, you'll have to agree to terms and conditions, which obviously I carefully read, and then you're in the basic setup mode. Adding devices is as simple as hitting that plus sign in the top right corner, and it'll prompt you through the whole process. So let's start by adding the hub. We'll hit the plus sign. We'll get our hub ready to go. Oh, we have to give the app permissions. So you scan the QR code of the device. There we go. Please power on the home hub and connect it to the uplink port on the router. So we're going to do that in a second, and we'll get right back to you. So I have an Ethernet switch box in the basement, as you can see here. Thankfully, I had one port left, and I was able to connect in my hub here into the back, and you can see the power cord is plugged in there, and it's plugged into an AC adapter. I've also put a SD card into the back of the device, and it's blinking. That's a good sign.
And we simply repeat that process for the camera unit.
You can see a little blue light in there. Device and home hub connection succeeded. Hooray. So we'll hit the next button here. Name your device, Camera 1. I think that's a perfect name for it. All right, so there's the camera set up and running. And you can confirm that the camera is actually operational.
Physical installation of the camera is straightforward, with the mounting pylon being the choice in my case. It's robust and secure, although I found the hand tightening gripping ring thing for the ball joint is kind of tough to get secure, at least in cold weather. The solar panel is also easy to install. Once you're all installed, you'll be able to access your camera remotely from anywhere in the world, but you'll likely want to set it up for motion detection as well. Now, the defaults in the system are very reasonable, but it's good to know some of the ways to customize the motion detection. You can set the area you want to watch for motion, and you can also set non-detection zones to avoid false alarms from naturally moving objects like, say, tree leaves. You can set the sensitivity based on 3 classes of objects: people, vehicles, or animals. And for each of those, you can also set the minimum and maximum size to trigger the alarm. So for example, you could choose to ignore squirrels and elephants, but still trigger on people or mountain lions. So you have lots of options. Oh, and you can also define privacy zones where the recorded video will be blacked out. This is handy if your field of view includes, say, part of your neighbor's property, or your bedroom window, or a hot tub, or something like that. The privacy zones are completely blacked out on the recorded video. Some other features to consider are the types of alerts to send out, a local siren you can activate, time-lapse recordings, and many, many more options. By the way, you can also listen over the camera and even talk to people through it like an intercom. When you access the Home Hub, you'll see a list of triggering events with the time, a thumbnail of the event, and a classification into person, vehicle, or animal. And I found that kind of handy. Tapping on the event allows you to watch and listen to the recording. You have a ton of flexibility to set things up with the Reolink system, and you can easily refine it over time to suit your needs. So I've been using the Reolink system for almost 4 months now, and everything has worked remarkably well. It's certainly my go-to camera to check when I'm away, rather than my Blink cameras. It's faster to connect into remotely, shows me a huge swath of property at a glance, and the images are crystal clear, day and night. But there is one issue that I had that is pretty serious: battery life in cold weather. The camera is rated for temperatures from -10 Celsius to +55 Celsius. And in fact, I had no problem checking the camera down to -15 or even lower. The catch is, even with the solar cell connected and operating, in the dead of winter, the battery fades to next to nothing in about a month. I installed my system fully charged on November the 30th and started to notice the battery level was below 30% when I went away over Christmas. When I returned, I took down the camera, let it warm up indoors, then charged it fully on December the 30th. On this graph, the red line is the battery percentage, and you can see it going down, and the blue line is the overnight low temperature in degrees Celsius. So you can see it got pretty cold. So after I remounted it, day after day, the battery level once again steadily dropped to the point that I had to charge it again on February the 8th, about 5 weeks later. Now, temperatures were starting to warm up towards the end of February, and everything seemed to be working reasonably well in March, when the days were in the positive temperatures and the nights, well, they weren't so cold. It's almost like the battery or maybe the charging circuitry just freeze up at low temperatures, even within the spec of -10, and you end up having to charge it after a month. Now, I tried charging it with a battery bank outside, but it didn't work. So I had to take the camera down, bring it inside, let it warm up so it wouldn't be damaged, and then charge it overnight indoors. Quite a pain in the butt. I didn't have an opportunity to check if the same problem occurs if the camera is hardwired using the power over Ethernet cable. But I'm going to guess that hardwiring would work better and probably solve the problem, since you have a more consistent power input than a solar panel, particularly over winter with fewer daylight hours for charging and occasionally snow covering the solar panel. So there you have it, my real-life usage report of the Reolink Argus 4 Pro camera, coupled with a solar panel for power and a home hub unit for storing video footage. Absolutely great camera in terms of resolution, day or night. Super flexibility in terms of motion detection. The only real issue is the battery life over the cold Canadian winter. Lasts only about a month before you need to take it down and recharge it inside. There's a link in the description below this video if you'd like to check it out. Thanks for watching.